Our world is full of strange creatures, with new oddities being discovered all the time. But if cryptozoologists, aka the folks who investigate creatures of folklore and urban legends, are to be believed, there are some creatures out there that go beyond just weird, stretching into what some might call paranormal. Most of these alleged monsters are nothing more but campfire stories, but sometimes these cryptids are actually caught on camera, with pretty disturbing results. So today we're going to checking out the most notable sightings of skinwalkers, lake monsters, Bigfoot, and more, as we investigate the terrifying 25 times that strange creatures have been caught on camera. Number 25. The Montauk Monster. Cryptozoologist Loren Coleman invented the name Montauk Monster in 2008 in reaction to the mysterious and horrifying images of a carcass said to have washed onto the beach in Montauk, New York. The internet soon spawned flash urban legends so exaggerated that the popular debunking site Snopes dumped ice water on the findings. But for eyewitnesses, the beast was no tall tale. The photographer, Jenna Hewitt, described the frantic reactions of onlookers who thought that the animal might be supernatural or freakishly deformed. Some scientists attempted to dismiss the photographs, but soon other sightings of eerily similar deformed remains would take place as far west as Santa Barbara. Number 24. Electric Blue Humanoid. This strange humanoid was captured on video in Peru by a man named Anthony Choi. The strange creature almost has the profile of a person with their arms crossed, as if they were trapped in a straitjacket, and seems to float effortlessly as they kneel or sit with their legs crossed. As Choi approaches the creature, it seems to fade further and further away, crossing into the road and through the path of several incoming semi-trucks. It stops in place and seems to phase out of reality when a truck passes through it, leaving only questions behind. What was it? How did it get there? Was it an extra-dimensional being of pure energy, a traveler of time and space, or something else? Number 23. Inkanyamba. This family of legendary serpents is described as massive, slithering reptiles that can swallow a fully grown person whole without ever missing a beat. These creatures are feared throughout Africa and have been for many generations. The stories have morphed these gigantic snakes into something out of mythology, saying they have the head of a horse instead of that of a snake. We assume that they could be talking about a previously undiscovered species of snake with a particularly strange-looking head that grows to unfathomable lengths. Many people, even today, claim to have caught glimpses of this legendary man-eater, with all sorts of shaky evidence popping up to show Inkanyamba that have been killed by hunters. These photos aren't necessarily real, but it goes without saying that the legends have to be based on something. With so much of Africa's interior jungles being unmapped and unknown to modern people, there's plenty of space for a species like this to survive and possibly even thrive in some far-flung spot in a dense jungle in the middle of nowhere, without anyone ever being the wiser. Tribespeople still pass down the old stories, and the fear of attack is still very real in many places, with some people constantly on the lookout for the legendary Inkanyamba. Some stories even say that these beasts can control the weather. While we think that's all a little too superstitious, there are plenty of large, monstrous snakes and eels that live all over South Africa, and it isn't too much of a stretch to think that people back in the day did have to contend with a particular species that outgrew and outmatched them all. It's been proven that a lot of these legends are passed down from all over the world, being morphed over the years into tall tales that speak of magic monsters. But this is one that we really wish wasn't a plausible outcome, because the idea of a snake that dwarfed a school bus would haunt our dreams forever. Number 22. The Pope Lick Monster. In Kentucky, legend has it that a half-man, half-beast malicious mutant lives below the railroad bridge over Pope Lick Creek, and is said to have hypnotized its victims into being smashed by speeding trains. But the myth of the creature could be just as lethal as its legendary murders. After a film portrayed a man hanging heroically off the trestle, a couple attempted to recreate the beat while visiting in 2013. The woman died, run over by a speeding train. Her partner survived, but not before the creepy legend of Pope Lick had claimed a real-life victim. Number 21. Kongamato. The Kongamato is said to be a form of pterosaur that's been found all over Central and Southern Africa, with an English explorer even claiming to have caught one way back in 1932. The beast fought him desperately and eventually broke free, but he was able to describe it quite vividly and brought the story back with him. It turns out that there had been previous stories that told of the same kind of creature that dated back centuries, although we suspect they probably date back much further than that, based on the fact that the subject in question must undoubtedly be a throwback to dinosaurs. Whether you believe the stories or not, they've captured the attention of plenty of people, especially those who live in the areas where the Kongamato are supposed to roam. This flying dino-like creature supposedly lives in relatively bleak and remote habitats, dwelling in rivers and swamps. It's said that they have a massive wingspan that's more like a reptile than a bird, covered in a kind of featherless skin. The same kind of creature is also known in other parts of Africa, although it goes by many different names, with some having distinct differences in appearance, suggesting that there could be plenty more hanging around the continent, lost for generations and just waiting to be rediscovered. People have reported wrangling with these beasts in recent years, although nobody in modern days has been able to catch one like in the stories that have been passed down to us. Some have even called the Kongamato a form of flying snake, with a length from tip to tail of around 1.5 meters. It goes without saying that a creature this small could easily hide in Africa, even though no confirmed sightings have been made since the 1930s. Some people have claimed that they could have been driven to extinction, or at least the very brink, either through being hunted for food or human encroachment into their traditional habitats. We are a little skeptical about these reports and aren't completely convinced that these creatures were ever hunted, but the stories tell us otherwise, and we're left having to believe that there's some sort of truth in them somewhere. Our doubts aren't shared by countless people all over Africa, however, who say that they know these creatures exist without a doubt. Number 20. Flying creature in Pennsylvania. This video captures what appears to be a reptilian flying creature in the skies of Pennsylvania. The creature, which appears to be a dragon or, as some have suggested, a pterodactyl, flies near the heavy gray clouds on an overcast day. While the creature easily blends into the skyline, we can make out some features. Its wings are large and pointed. It has a small, round body, and a long, slender tail that trails out behind it. This is the only known video of this sighting and, perhaps due to the unfavorable dark, windy conditions, the only sighting of the creature on this day. Number 19. Bahali. The Bahali comes out of Liberia, and many enthusiasts have gone out searching for a live specimen in recent years. This beast is basically an enormous crocodile that's been known to terrorize riverside communities for generations. Some evidence has even been presented to support the claims that such a creature is in fact real, with plenty of people offering proof of their catches by posting images online. We have to admit that none of these are conclusive proof, as the carcasses interestingly have never been officially examined in any of these cases. We're running with the unsubstantiated reports in this case. However, because the Bahali, if they are real, would be terrifying creatures that are quite baffling in appearance. Based on what little we know about them, they seem to walk on all fours that are angled further toward its body than today's crocs, looking like little dinosaurs. They're not quite so little by today's standards, however, with smaller specimens reaching the same length as a fully grown crocodile, and adults being said to hit 30 feet. Given the fact that they're so elusive, we think that estimate could be a little much, but we're still convinced that it would be plausible to miss something even at that size, with all the unexplored and uninhabitable space which basically makes up most of Africa. This creature is unsurprisingly a carnivore, and stories of ancient people wrangling with them are abundant, with most fights ending up with the Bahali coming out on top. We really don't know exactly what to make of such a strange and mysterious creature. It would be nice if someone who was able to submit a photo was also able to produce the actual body for inspection, but we'll just have to wait for that for now. Number 18. Kraken spotted off Antarctica in Google Maps. The Kraken is a giant sea monster of Norwegian lore that has become one of the most prominent mythical figures thanks to appearances in films such as Clash of the Titans and Pirates of the Caribbean. The Kraken is said to be a giant octopus or squid and is believed to be a monstrously sized cryptid with the size and power to destroy or even swallow entire ships. In recent years, scientists have believed that rare and elusive giant squid may be responsible for the myth of the Kraken due to their immense size, believed to be as big as 15 or even 20 meters. While it's simple to assume that ancient fishermen who spent their entire lives near or on the sea were so naive as to confuse a 15-meter squid with a 16-kilometer island, it may be possible that the Kraken may have just been lost in time. This image, taken by Google Maps, seems to identify a large island-sized squid or octopus breaching in the waters of Antarctica. Number 17. Litzatman. In 1988, the Lee County Sheriff's Office of South Carolina was called to the scene of a bizarre automobile destruction in a nearby rural locale. Wires from the motor of the car had been torn apart, the hood ornament broken off, the sidewalls maimed. Even scarier, the demolished fenders appeared to have bite marks, as if a super powerful animal had chewed and spat out the metal. Reddish hair and muddy footprints dotted the vehicle. Police soon learned that residents had been encountering a 7-foot-tall, greenish-brown mutated creature that they called Lizard Man. Upon investigation, more evidence of the horrific animal was discovered near scape or swamp, including gigantic 3-toed footprints that biologists deemed unclassifiable. This shadowy footage, uploaded by YouTube user Encounters26, is a terrifying glimpse at what may be the true nature of the gangly destructive beast. Number 16. Flying humanoid in Turkey. This CCTV captured in Turkey shows a strange, small humanoid figure walking up and down an empty street at night. At first, the creature might be mistaken for a child due to its small stature and humanoid silhouette. Though, upon closer inspection, it appears as if it may be even smaller than a child, perhaps even the size of a newborn or a small animal. Then, effortlessly, it takes a step off the ground and floats into the air. It flies off screen for a few seconds and then returns to the ground below, walking across the street. What could the origin of this strange creature be? Could it be a ghost, fairy, or perhaps a jinn of Islamic folklore? In a country as old as Turkey, anything is possible. Number 15. Flying humanoid caught in Peru. This footage allegedly captures what appears to be a human-like being floating or flying above a city in Peru. The footage was captured by Cesar Rodriguez, a video producer in Puerto Maldonado. The footage was uploaded by Anthony Choi, a Peruvian-based ufologist and journalist, lending to its credibility. The strange figure appears to be wearing either cape or perhaps robes as it floats above the city. There's yelling as spectators point to the figure in the sky above. After a few minutes, the figure flies off into the clouds, and we lose sight of it. This is the only known footage of the sighting. Number 14. Dragon caught flying over mountains. In China, dragons have always had a special place in the history and mythology of China. Long, serpent-like dragons are often the subjects of art, films, and represented in celebrations. Dragon bones or fossils are used in homeopathic remedies. Some believes that dragons may have actually been dinosaurs that were able to escape extinction, and that perhaps those reptilian animals for legends of dragons might even be alive today. It's no surprise that China's the subject of many reported dragon sightings, but this sighting may surprise you. In this footage captured by a Chinese man, a dragon appears incredibly Western with its reptilian wings, short body, and hind legs. The creature appears to fly effortlessly over the mountains below. The area appears remote, so this may be the only footage of such a sighting. Number 13. Skinwalker. Historically, skinwalkers were a sacred part of Navajo lore. Skinwalkers were believed to be powerful witches who could transform into animals and people. Some people believe that the Wendigo, a Canadian cryptid and creature of lore, may be one famous example of a skinwalker that transcends cultural boundaries due to its strange human yet animal-like appearance. With the age of the internet, other reports of skinwalkers have been made. Skinwalkers are believed to want to harm people and will steal the appearance of campers or hikers in order to get into their group. These photos captured by the Reddit user Kinkypikia may be the only physical evidence of these strange monsters. Number 12. Zashiki Warashi Yokai. Yokai are the demons of Japanese folklore. Yokai, in Japanese, means bewitching, attractive, calamity, specter, apparition, mystery, and suspicious. While you may be familiar with the concept of yokai from the video game Yokai Watch, yokai have traditionally been much more terrifying and troublesome in Japanese folklore. Yokai began as early animist spirits in Japanese culture, which were believed to be responsible for a number of minor nuisances or accidents. Yokai are often considered to be ghost-like spirits with the intent of scaring or harming their victims. One such yokai, Zashiki Warashi, is a childlike spirit that haunts homes. Zashiki Warashi is said to inhabit every house and frightens or annoys its inhabitants by running through the house at night, making noise, or moving objects. This video may capture the spirit. Number 11. Sea serpent in Alaska. Fear of the water and the monsters that may dwell within it is a cultural universal that transcends time. We may fear sharks or jellyfish now, but it was sea serpents that our ancestors feared. They told tales of giant snake-like dragons capable of killing people, destroying ships, or even totaling entire towns. While today we believe that any number of possible creatures might be responsible for the sea serpent myth, including oarfish, sperm whales, or sharks, could it be possible that sea serpents, as they were believed to have existed, actually may have? Sightings of sea serpents have continued to this day, and some claim to have evidence of these monsters. This video captured by the United States Bureau of Land Management captures what seems to be one large serpent in the icy waters of Alaska. Number 10. Fairy. Fairies are believed to be small humanoid creatures with wings and have been subjects of European folklore for hundreds or even thousands of years. Fairies are believed to live in societies like ours, hidden away in forests. But generally, the perception of fairies has changed through time. Historically, they've been believed to be evil spirits that steal children, but with the New Age movement, they became positive spirits that help people. This video may capture one fairy in the forest at night. Number 9. Humanoid gray alien caught on camera in cemetery. This video allegedly shows a gray-like alien skulking in a graveyard. The camera slowly pans, and the creature can be seen in the background if you look closely. According to the owner of the tape, the footage had been taken 10 years before they went public with it, but had only recently discovered the creature hiding within. The creature matches the description of a gray alien, with its bulbous head, black eyes, and emaciated figure. But there's one other, even more disturbing, possible explanation for the creature in the graveyard: ghouls. Ghouls are black or gray evil spirits that haunt graveyards, consuming the flesh or blood of the dead. Reports of ghouls go back millennia, but this is the first recorded video evidence. Number 8. Strange creature caught on Russian military CCTV. Military installations and secret government facilities go hand in hand with sightings of the unknown. This footage of a mysterious installation in Russia shows a strange humanoid creature, seemingly perched on the high concrete perimeter walls. While the creature is bipedal, its shape looks possibly animal and maybe even rodent-like due to its posture and shape. Its shape may be the result of strange, loose-fitting clothing, and it may also be an old hanger. The Baba Yaga, a terrifying old woman cryptid of Slavic folklore that consumes people. When the creature descends from the wall and disappears into thin air, it even seems to scare off another strange cryptid that had been hiding just below the camera. Number 7. Alien sighting. A strange creature showed up in South Africa a number of years ago, with nobody able to definitively decipher its origins for quite some time. The creature was terribly skinny and was dried up, with arms outstretched, and looked bipedal and quite humanoid in appearance, complete with a set of teeth that also resembled those of humans. This discovery sent people all over the world into a panic, with some locals convinced that they were either cursed or being infiltrated by a strange alien race. The creature was originally found by a national park ranger, Llewellyn Dixon. After pictures taken at the scene were posted online, it quickly went viral and led to people jumping to some pretty wild conclusions. The creature is definitely otherworldly in appearance, and we wouldn't blame anyone for thinking that it was a sign of something bad on the way. The creature was found already dead, so its body was taken to a local vet for further investigation. After a thorough examination, the vet made a pretty astounding discovery. Unfortunately for alien enthusiasts, this thing wasn't from another planet but was, in actual fact, a misshapen baboon. It turns out that when a young baboon dies, its mother may carry it around with her for quite some time, with the body slowly stretching and morphing into something that looks like a tiny alien. This strange occurrence has been known to happen from time to time, and we think we prefer this thing to be alien. It's just another example of the internet going nuts about a story before knowing the whole truth, with aliens being much cooler and much less depressing than the truth. Even so, this is exactly what many people believe aliens would look like, and this story just goes to show that life, even that which evolved here on Earth, is usually pretty strange to begin with. This creepy photo is still making the rounds, however, with many people still being tricked into thinking that this creature is an unknown. We prefer to be upfront and honest, but felt we should include this specimen in today's countdown, and will admit that we still find the entire thing a little mysterious. Now, some have taken their doubts even further, however, claiming that the official report was wrong, and that the vet was outright lying in order to cover up something uncomprehendingly big. They say that no baboon would end up looking like that, although plenty of experts have stated their case empathetically and repeatedly. We think that's a little far-fetched and are happy to believe such overwhelming tangible evidence. Number 6. Reptilian humanoid captured on video. In Australian caves, caves have always been the subject of human spirituality and religion and connected to the course of evolution of man. Caves used to serve as home and church all in one for humans, and some religions and cultures proposed that humans actually came forth from the ground through caves. At some point, however, we stopped living in caves and became afraid of them. Caves stopped being our homes and became portals to other, darker worlds. While anthropologists and archaeologists have not been able to tell us why, some have proposed a simple conclusion: because they are. In this video, cave explorers capture a human-like creature climbing the walls of the cave. When the explorers flashed their lights on the creature, it moves its head to hide its eyes and face. According to Nick Maliki, the hunter who captured the footage, the creature was a Nephilim, commonly known as a reptilian, and stood over 10 feet tall. Number 5. The Flathead Lake Monster. At the southern tip of the Rocky Mountain Trench lies idyllic Flathead Lake of Montana, known as the largest freshwater lake in the western United States. But swimming ominously in its depths is said to be a 20 to 40-foot killer known as the Flathead Lake Monster. Described chillingly by eyewitnesses as long ago as the 19th century, this live-action recreation by Destination America is in one of the river inlets of Flathead and documents a married couple's first-hand encounter with a serpent-like creature, similar in size and appearance to the Loch Ness Monster. The Flathead Monster is said to be a dark, eel-like leviathan with blackish eyes. One of the most recent sightings occurred in 1993 in an area known as Big Arm Bay, causing many recent boaters to arm themselves big time before venturing into its murky waters. Number 4. Floating girl in forest. This video, captured by a Russian man, shows what appears to be a little girl floating over her parent. The man discovers the pair as he walks his dog through the woods. As he chases the dog, he finds the daughter and guardian. The girl seems to float at twice the height of the adult, leaning forward as if she's practicing how to fly. The man records the two, but the little girl realizes he's there. He tries to hide, and the two begin to flee. Just what was it that the man found out in the woods? Aliens, witches, superhumans? There's no knowing. Number 3. The New Jersey Devil. When you think of the New Jersey Devils, you might think of heroics on the rink or the occultist face paint of the team's fans, which inspired a hilarious parody in the television show Seinfeld. But did you know that the New Jersey Devil's nickname was coined after a fabled satanic monster in the northeastern forest? Over a century's worth of local eyewitnesses have described an evil, red-glowing creature known as the Jersey Devil, a flying kangaroo-like animal with a head like a goat. This sky-sailing beast is said to have giant bat-like wings, clawed hands, cloven hooves, and a forked tail. Witnesses have said that the Jersey Devil is immensely quick and sounds a blood-curdling scream as it descends upon its prey. Number 2. Strange ape captured in forest. The modern theory of evolution leaves some people with certain questions about the timetable and progression. If we really evolved from bipedal apes, where did they go? Cryptids like the aquatic ape and Bigfoot seem to exist as strange evolutionary throwbacks, reminders of our theorized primal origins. This video allegedly captures one such throwback, an ape that seems to look like the proposed human ancestor, Australopithecus, in the woods. Number 1. Mermaids. There have been stories passed down throughout the ages. The tale of mermaids that actually live in African lakes and rivers instead of dwelling in the oceans like the rest of their kin. These specialized mermaids are quite territorial, and their demeanor can vary from one to the other. Some are said to be vicious, hating humans and lashing out with surprising speed, while others have been known to help people in their travels, providing aid and advice. Zimbabwe probably features the most prolific and widespread stories regarding mermaids, with some locals having claimed to have captured mermaids in the past. They're quite rare these days and aren't seen very often, especially with many of their habitats being taken over and dedicated to human use. Despite the facts, preferring to retreat further into more uninhabitable locations, surviving in whatever bodies of water they can. Those found in Zimbabwe are known as the Mande-O, and it's probably a good thing they're getting forced out of areas where humans live because they're known to be especially violent, routinely drowning swimmers if they're able to do so. Dam workers once refused to continue any sort of construction because mermaids were busy fending them off with a few attacks reported. The creatures were eventually persuaded to leave after a government official arrived and offered them a gift of traditional beer. South Africa also has a long history of mermaid sightings, and there have been many legends talking of people engaging with them, either to hunt or chat with, based on varying accounts. One group who traditionally lived in and around the desert, funnily enough, tell of a group of mermaids, although many say that they had only heard about them from wandering travelers. South Africa has so many lush areas, with mountain streams becoming homes for another group of mermaids who, much like those in Zimbabwe, are known to drown their Vic. Although this group is supposed to take things further and actually actively lure their victims into the water and into letting their guard down, which is absolutely premeditated as far as we're concerned. These stories have withered away in recent years, but if you believe them, it seems that Africa has been the scene of a great human-mermaid war that's potentially been raging since the very dawn of mankind. Could be that the stories have mistakenly labeled crocs as mermaids through ignorance, but that's a pretty big mistake to make. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.